Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Satsuhime's Grand Adventure. In the last episode, we were tasked by the Bow Lord and Mother Mione to explore and clear the Tamtara Deep Croft, and that's exactly what I plan to do, so let's get to it. Upon entry of the dungeon, my first impressions are right about where you would expect them to be. Looks like your typical dirty and spooky tomb. But this one in particular is much larger than anticipated. Obviously, there is no shortage of fiends and demons about. But there also seems to be people from the cult, and zombies roaming about. Which means now I can kill indiscriminately without pesky morals getting in the way. We mow our way through the trash as usual, until we reach the first boss. We kill the two imps and the priest at the altar and it summons a void soul counter. Needless to say, he won't be counting any more souls in the near future. We make short work of the boss, and proceed to eradicate more dungeon trash. The screams of demons, monsters, and cultists echo through the deep croft. And it's music to my ears. Eventually, we find our way to another altar where a gang of imps were summoned to stop us along with another void soul counter. I'm sure you can guess what happened to them. Once that was over, the time had come for the real boss to reveal themselves. A mind flayer called Gallivant the Dominator. Soon to be called Gallivant the Dominated. And dominated he was. Although he had a few tricks up his sleeve, like tethering himself to his minions to gain invulnerability, but that was no problem for us and ultimately he was a very easy kill. After the deed was done, it was time to get back to Mother Mione to fill her in on the details. As usual, Mother was very pleased with my success but not at all surprised. She also passes on the Bow Lord's thanks, and tells me it's a relief to be able to call upon such a capable adventurer. Making me blush and shit. The conversation soon turns serious when she starts talking about the amount of deaths racking up among adventurers, and how they are finding it difficult to fill all the requests coming in. She says that the ample amount of work to be done opens up the gate for inexperienced adventurers to overreach and be killed in the process. She then glances over to a group of adventurers who illustrate this point perfectly. Apparently, this group's leader was killed, and the two DPS are blaming the healer for his death. They exchange some pretty harsh words then part ways. Mother says that scenes like this are becoming more common here at the guild. And further emphasizes why it's so nice to have reliable people like me around. Moving on from that, she tells me about a job that needs to be done in Ul'dah, and that I should provide my services there also if possible. I need only ask her about the details. Obviously, I decide to take the job. I speak to Mother again for the details then head off to Ul'dah. I head over to the Adventurers Guild and speak to Momodi, who tells me that the client should be arriving soon. Moments later he appears. He introduces himself as Papa Shan and thanks me for my assistance. He informs me that a local mining company is having some issues with giants inside of their place of work. These giant creatures were sealed away in the deepest depths of the mines during the bygone Thorn dynasty, but have since escaped and are wreaking havoc through the mines. Apparently, the giants have been trapped there for over 300 years, so they are unsurprisingly pissed off about how they were treated. They were used by the people from that time to work the mines with helmets they used to control the giants. But the enchantments eventually failed and the giants rebelled. And in a desperate attempt to quell the rebellion, the people back then collapsed the mines to trap the giants. Momodi recalls having seen an article recently about the Copper Bell mines reopening due to the high demand for building materials as of late. Which is why this mission is pretty important. With all that, I am told to head over to Western Thanaland to find the mine and I prepare to head off. But first, I have to speak to a guy named Painted Mesa. And I don't want to be rude, but why the hell do Rogadins have such stupid fucking names? Anyway, I talk to Painted Mesa. He reiterates the history of the mine and says the people who opened it back up knew full well about the giants, but simply assumed none of them could have survived. They were obviously incorrect about that. Not that any of that matters to begin with, because if we don't clear it out, Ul'dah's restoration grinds to a halt. So off I go to do some giant hunting. I get to the site and there is another Rogadin named Stone Torch. Okay, seriously though, I'm not the only one who noticed this, right? What the hell is going on with these names? Anyway, he grants me entry and we head on in. Upon entry, there weren't any immediate signs of giants running rampant throughout the mine. My group, consisting of a rogue, arcanist, gladiator and myself, are greeted by the usual creatures you would find in mines or caves. We mowed them down as usual, but to our shock a giant burst through the walls and really put into perspective why it's not safe for the people of Alda to work down here. As we progress further, we encounter several more giants, lots of mob trash, and even some strange giant slime who seem to be impervious to damage, until we use several bombs to break it down into smaller pieces. Further down there were even more giants, living fossils and even some hippo serfs hanging around. Nothing we couldn't handle. By the time we reached the end, we encountered the boss giant and kicked his ass back to oblivion, and the job was done. Once I returned back to the guild, painted Mesa was waiting for me. He thanked me for a job well done, and told me to report in. But before I could do that, there seemed to be a disturbance outside. A merchant seemed to be accusing a refugee of stealing something from him. She denied the claims, but he didn't let up. And then he tried to bribe her with serving him to forget about her supposed criminal act. Which pretty much 100% means this shit stain is falsely accusing her. She glances around for someone to help her and reached out to me for help, claiming she only wanted to treat her children to a decent meal and that she bought the food with her own coin. So I step up to lend a hand. Naturally, this scumbag responded by sending his goons to take care of me, because he's clearly a huge pussy and can't do it himself. Which was really unfortunate for them, because I was feeling rather annoyed that I didn't get to speak to adorable little Momoti again. So after a swift kick to the ass, the cowards run off, because not only is this merchant a piece of human filth, he's apparently also a cheapskate. The woman approaches me to extend her thanks, and I am suddenly given a vision by the echo. In the vision, 2 citizens of Alda take note of the increasing number of refugees who flocked here due to the calamity, whose homelands were either cut off from trade routes or abandoned with no way to care for its previous residents. With word of Alda being a prosperous nation, people naturally decided to try their luck there. One of the men stated that he sympathizes with them, but their increasing presence does give him some concern. He's also concerned about desperation leading them to crime. But the other assures him that not all of them are bad, and that's when I see the lady purchase the meat just like she claimed she did. When I snap out of it, the moron was still standing there bitching at me about threatening a defenseless citizen, and I tell him that I saw her make the purchase, and apparently someone from the crowd did also. Although, whoever that asshat was, chose not to speak up until just now. The guy gets all pouty and fucks off, and the woman thanks me again for the assist. With that done, it was time to go see Momoti, or not. Ida and Little Pap showed up out of nowhere, and apparently they have been stalking me since I left Gridania. They seem to have witnessed my power and told me that I'm not the only one who has it. Apparently a friend of theirs was blessed with the echo, and they wanted me to meet her. But not only that, it seems they want to recruit me into their ranks, and said I should speak to Momoti if I am curious. Before they leave, Ida tells me that their group is a secret organization called the Science of the Seventh Dawn, and I should keep that on the down low. Then they left. Now it's finally time for me to visit Momoti and bask in her adorableness yet again. When I approach, she is speaking to a fresh off the carriage adventurer who looks strangely freaking familiar. But anyway, while Momoti was busy complimenting my awesomeness, she remembers that someone was looking for me. That someone was Etta from that really horrible group of adventurers from Gridania. Apparently, her dead fiancé was a huge fan of mine and talked about aspiring to be a great adventurer like me. But unfortunately, he met his end before that could happen. Etta claims that despite losing him, she feels inspired by me just like he was, and she wants to continue adventuring to reach that goal. She says she will return home to her village and start anew, but she wanted to make sure she got my name first. I speak my glorious name to her, and she tells me she won't forget it and scurries off. Momoti says after she leaves that adventuring can be a cruel business, and when she was asked to take charge of the guild, she didn't want anything to do with us, and that it would be a pain in the ass to look after us. But she says she chose to do it anyway and is proud to be a part of our lives. And that goes double for me. I then inquire about the Scions, and she tells me they are no ordinary folks, and that they don't do ordinary work. She says she understands how capable I am, but even I would need to think twice before getting involved with them, but she will tell me what she knows if I am truly interested. Apparently, the Scions are located in Vesper Bay out in western Thanalan in a place called the Waking Sands. She tells me also that because of my popularity the days ahead are sure to be busy, but I would do well not to forget those who got me to this point, and that I should drop in to let them know how I am doing from time to time. Once I reach the Waking Sands, I am blessed by the singing of an adorable little Lalafell by the name of Tataru. I seem to have startled her though, because she freaked out when she spotted me. Once she collected herself, she was prepping to tell me off, but I stopped her and informed her I was there on Papalimo and Ida's recommendation. She asks me for my name and checks her notes and finds my name listed there. She then introduces herself and tells me she will let the antecedent know to expect me. And thus I was permitted to enter. Judging from what I have seen with the two I have met already, I am very interested to see what kinds of other people the Scions have in their group. I get myself mentally prepared to meet them, but that will have to wait until the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed yet another episode of Satsuhime's Grand Adventure. We got quite a bit done in this one. Don't forget to hit that like button and share if you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Satsuhime's Grand Adventure.